He seems to be coming out of it.
Okay, blood pressure?
80/50.
Okay, I want more than a CBC. I want an SMA-12, I want a urinalysis, and I want a complete set of cranial x-rays.
Right away, Doctor.
What happened?
You passed out.
No, I was talking to Ray. Where's Ray?
I'm right here. Everything's all right.
You probably were talking too much. Do you know where you are?
Emergency. Riverside.
Right. You've got it. You've got a bad knock on the head and your blood pressure is low. And if you try to sit up again, you're going to pass out.
Oh, there is this merry-go-round in my head. Complete with calliope and moving horses. It's...
Yeah, well, for once in your life, my friend, you don't have to try for the brass ring. Huh?
Oh.
How is he? Well, he had me pretty scared for a while, but everything's under control now.
Jill?
Hi. How you doing?
Oh, I'm better by the minute.
I'll be back after I check the test results. Nurse, make sure you keep him quiet until then.
Thank you, Doctor. I only, managed to hear bits and pieces. Georgia called, said you were going to be late, then Patrick called and said you were here. What happened in between?
Well,
we were on our way to a Long Island meeting via the airport. Nancy and Dave Feldman were with us. Nancy had to catch a plane, and we were going to drop her off. Some idiot came up a ramp and clipped us from the rear. I was driving, and I didn't see it coming.
Correction, Ray. I was driving.
Now, we've already been through that, and the police have taken my statement.
They have your misstatement.
Come on. Big deal. I take the rap, and you're protected. Look, we don't need any bad publicity right now. Senatorial candidate crashes car, passenger seriously injured. Dave was hurt? No, I think Dave is all right, but I'm afraid Nancy may not.
I want you to issue a correction tonight, now.
No way. Now, I know what I'm doing.
Then you don't know me.
Look, you are mistaken if you think I'm going to stand by and let you or anybody else sabotage our campaign. Got that?
What I have got is a headache that's bigger than my head. Bigger at the moment than my so-called blind ambition. But if I have to get out of this bed and put you in a hammerlock, you are going to correct that statement.
Look, you accepted my backing, and I am managing this campaign. Now, what is done, and we're going to leave it at that.
Now, wait a minute,
Look,
Ray.
obviously, you two have a problem. This is not the time for an argument. Frank is not up to it. The doctor said he needs his rest.
A policeman would like a statement from Councilman Ryan.
Send him in here.
Frank, please,
Would
will
you
you stop?
please do as Mr. Ryan asked?
Oh, will you keep out of this?
Okay, good. I don't see any problem. Dave was lucky on this one. Where's Mr. Feldman now?
He went up to arrange a room for his daughter. Oh, her series will be out in a minute. The radiologist wanted a second set, just to be sure.
Good. I want to see those.
Okay.
Oops, hello there.
Hi.
Say, could you find me a set of old pictures of Louise Brenner, age 6 months? We did them last February. Here's the chart on it.
Brenner. Sure thing, Dr. Coleridge.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hi. I didn't think I'd see you here.
Here I am.
So it seems. The Brenner family called and asked for the baby's x-rays to be forwarded to Pittsburgh. They moved. You remember her?
Big blue eyes and a subdural hematoma.
That's the one.
So how are you tonight?
I'm fine.
How's Tom doing?
Pretty well.
Tom and I had a conversation of sorts the other day. He seemed to have a lot on his mind.
Tom thinks about us, the way we were. He's trying to be patient and quiet about it. Too quiet, I think.
We can't redo the past.
Well, I tell him it's over between us. And I try to reassure him, but he pictures us talking and loving each other.
Well, Tom will have to fix that. It's up to him whether he decides to trust or not to trust.
Yeah, but I love to prove to him that he can trust.
How can we manage that?
Well, I've been thinking about it a lot lately, and, are you off Sunday?
Yeah.
Well, I'd like to have a small but marvelous dinner party, and I'd like you to come.
At your place? No, Faith.
No, Pat, wait. You haven't heard it all. We'll invite Mary and Jack, and you bring a nice bottle of wine and the cutest date you can find. Well, okay, bring a friend. There's a really interesting new nurse in pediatrics.
Believe me, it won't work. Tom is at the point where he's angry at the very thought of me. I don't want to aggravate him. I think the kindest thing is just simply to avoid him. You've both been on my mind past day or so. Last night I walked all the way down Riverside Drive and back, trying to think. And I regretfully came to the conclusion that you and I should avoid each other too.
Oh, okay.
We don't talk, we don't meet. I think we can manage that. And you have a commitment, another commitment. I don't want to hurt you or Tom or your future. And I have to start facing it in a very practical way. I'm not going to be a part of your life.
Oh. All right.
Is it really all right?
Well, it's very wise. I mean, it's a very wise idea. We'll just avoid each other. It's best. So, I'll just be seeing you around.
Yeah, just around, right?
Nancy Feldman.
Thank you.
Your stuff's on the way, Dr. Coleridge.
Thank you.
Frank and Ray Woodard and Dave Feldman and his daughter were in a collision on the expressway tonight.
Oh, Pat.
Yeah, Frank is shaken up, but he's basically okay. Ray and Dave are all right.
Does Jill know about this?
Yeah, I called her. She's probably down there by now. Everybody else is okay, but Nancy... A hairline fracture of the right temporal.
Uh-oh.
She's a dancer.
Oh, Pat, that's too bad.
Now, will you please tell the policeman that Councilman Ryan is in no condition to make a statement, and I personally will call the precinct as soon as he is able to do so, and they can send someone over.
Hold it. Now, that is not the way it works. You don't tell the police how to run an investigation, and you don't steamroller me. Now, there are other people involved on this, Ray. Dave and Nancy.
Dave has enough sense to keep his mouth shut.
Well, I don't want to put him in that kind of a position.
You know, you may have a lump on the head, but you are still one of the most
Ray,
stubborn
come off it. You were being overly protective and you made a mistake. Now, I want to correct that mistake now. The sooner, the simpler. Ask the police officer to come in here, please, nurse.
Nurse, do no such thing. Dr. Valenti said that Mr. Ryan was to get his rest. You would be remiss in your duty if you allowed anyone to disturb him.
In my opinion, it's this argument that's disturbing him. Please.
Perhaps you should wait outside, Mrs. Woodard.
I will not, under any circumstances.
Would you please go and get him and tell him to come in here?
Councilman Ryan?
Officer Malloy, isn't it?
It is. Needless to say, the last time I saw you, you didn't recognize me.
Yeah, I don't remember much. They tell me you were there before the glass stopped falling, though.
Yeah, well, we were parked right down beside the ramp. We saw that guy go out onto the expressway like a bat out of hell. Could you fill me in on anything you do remember?
Yeah, I'd be glad to. I'd specifically like to correct a well-intentioned misstatement of the facts. Mrs. Woodard, my campaign manager, was with me in the car.
Yeah, I already have her account. Let's see. You were on your way to a meeting on the island by way of the airport. Mrs. Woodard was driving?
No, I was driving. Apparently, I was knocked across the seat by the impact, and Mrs. Woodard managed to change places with me. It was a rather ill-advised attempt on her part to protect me as her candidate from any adverse publicity. Normally, the real problem was that she was pretty shaken up herself. She wasn't thinking straight. Ordinarily, she's a very together lady. Now, I hope you'll keep that in mind when you make out your report.
The way I see it, Mr. Ryan, she wasted a lot of trouble over nothing. The fault obviously lies with the other driver. He ran a light, he hit the ramp at 60, and he caused the accident. Thank you for setting the record straight, though, and don't worry about it.
Thank you.
Don't mention it. I'll be seeing you.
You bet.
Bye-bye. You were terrific. And you did the right thing no matter what she says.
I love you.
Oh, Frank.
Hey, we're not fighting.
No way.
Well, that's worth a bump on the head.
Oh, stop it. When Patrick called me, I was worried out of my mind. Are you really all right?
Yeah.
They're ready for you on X-ray, Mr. Ryan.
Well, if any of these shots come out any good, we could use them as poster pictures, poster campaigns.
That is so bad. I know you're feeling better.
Okay.
What I really feel like is a nice, leisurely, moonlit stroll in the park. Stopping by X-ray, of course. Care to join me?
Huh? Well, it would be preferable if you'd go by yourself, Mr. Ryan.
Oh, okay. All right.
Thank you.
I'll see you later. All right, Jill, which is it? Which is what? Either you didn't understand that little talk we had after Maeve's Mother's Day party, or else you've just decided not to go ahead with your part of the arrangement. Come on, Ms. Coleridge. Are you fighting for his election or against it?
Hi. Is your daughter settled?
They took her in just a short while ago, and the nurse said to wait just a few minutes. She has a blinding headache, Pat.
Yeah, well, I'm not at all surprised.
Did you see the x-rays?
I did. Nancy has a hairline fracture of the right temporal bone and fractured tears in the dura.
Dura?
Covering of the brain.
Oh.
And the tears have caused fluid to leak out the ear.
Fluid?
Cerebral fluid. Now, fortunately, the drainage is small, hardly enough to wet a Q-tip. But it will require a couple of days of close observation.
It doesn't sound good.
It's just a precaution. We wouldn't make firm diagnoses unless we had all available information. Just like you wouldn't let Frank make a speech unless you briefed him.
That's just what I was doing in the car.
In the car?
No, it doesn't matter now. Go on about Nancy.
We'll assume that the fracture will heal in time without complications.
How much time?
Depends.
What about her dancing?
Well, she can participate in normal daily activities and once she's released from the hospital, provided that she keeps her physical exertion down to a minimum. I'm afraid she'll have to postpone the dancing for a while.
How long?
Well, once she's out of bed, she'll be able to use a walker. Then, before she's released from the hospital, she'll be on crutches. Then, as function gradually returns to her left leg, she'll be able to use a cane.
What is it? What's wrong with the leg?
The deep tendon reflexes of that left leg are increased, and her position sense in that leg only are impaired from the pressure from the blow to the head.
Well, how long before she's fully recovered?
It's hard to say. It could be as little as a couple of weeks. It could be as long as 2 months.
Oh, Pat. She was on her way to her first season of summer stock.
Well, it's always next summer.
Nancy started ballet when she was 8 years old. And she worked at it for 3 years. I mean, worked. And when she was 11, she started modern dance. Now, that summer, there was a dance camp. For 6 weeks, there was nothing to do but what she loved to do better than anything else in this world. And 3 days before she was to leave, she came down with pneumonia, flat on her back in bed for a month. And we said, there'll be other summers. And there were. I'll never forget her face. I mean, no sound, no complaining. Just tears sliding out of those big, sad eyes. I went out and spent $100 I didn't have on dance books. I can't put off calling her mother any longer. She'll want to know every detail. Is there anything else you can tell me about Nancy?
That's all we have right now, Dave. I'm sorry. Look, Nancy isn't going to need surgery. Her injury is self-limiting. That is, it's going to go away.
You can see your daughter now.
How is she?
I've given her a shot to ease the pain, and I've charted all her vital signs, Dr. Ryan.
Thank you.
Come on. Now, she may fall asleep quite soon. Oh.
Hello, Daddy.
I've always said you look terrific in green.
My father,
Mm-hmm.
the politician. How come nobody's talking? But the way they transferred me from that cart onto this bed, you'd think I was made of bone china. No pun intended. Really, Daddy? With that look on your face, I think you're the one they should be fussing over.
If you two will excuse me, I'll look in a little later.
You promise? You didn't get much of a chance to talk an X-ray. A lot of hand-holding and a lot of encouraging words. Thank you. I'd love to catch up on the Ryans.
Oh, I promise.
Honey, I really think we should call your mother now.
You go and call her. I feel a little sleepy now. Tell her I'm all right. Tell her I love her. And tell her not to bring me any books.
Could we start from the top? What agreement did we make?
The Ryans' living room, Mother's Day, right after I managed to get you and Edmund away from the photographers. You promised never to see Frank again in public.
Yes, and I haven't.
Well, what do you call that? A romantic little hideout for two?
Oh, you were way out of line. What was I supposed to do? Call in with you and check before I got here to the hospital?
Obviously not, since I was with Frank, but couldn't you have tried to use a little common sense? I mean, couldn't you have thought of him instead of yourself?
I was thinking that
Well,
maybe...
then what are you doing here? I mean, of all the indiscreet appearances for you to make, don't you realize that all we need is one enterprising reporter? Young mother of illegitimate son hovers over candidate in hospital room.
All right,
Boy.
Ray, that's enough. Now, if you recall, I told you that I don't want any more counseling sessions from you, and I meant it.
Well, I could do without them too, but I am not going to stand by and let you ruin his chances for the Senate. I know what's best for him, and I am making that best happen.
Oh, and giving false statements to the police in your candidate's name, that's what you consider best?
Oh, you do not understand.
Or is that
any...
some little package called political necessity? I have never claimed to know what is best for Frank.
I just love him. And love is a human emotion susceptible to mistakes. And you sure have made them, haven't you? Getting involved with him when he was still married to Delia? Boy, that little mistake cost him a congressional seat, didn't it? And getting pregnant? That was a whopper. Listen, first you were playing house with Seneca. Now you want Frank to play daddy for little Edmund. I didn't even know that Frank was the father of my child until Seneca told me, and just before that, I asked him to move out of my apartment. And yes, of course, I want Frank there for Edmund. He wants the same thing. And in spite of the campaign, I really believe that the three of us could have been happy. Could have been? What do you mean? I mean that anything that has happened up to this very minute is in the past, including 1, you're arranging for Seneca and me to be on Frank's advisory panel. 2, you're bringing photographers in to cover the Mother's Day celebration. And 3, you're somehow managing to have Ryan's first birthday party on national TV. 3 strikes, Ray. You really are a manipulator. Present tense intended. However, Edmund and I will stay out of the way of this campaign. Until after November, I will be in the background. But not for your sake. For Frank's. Terrific. And I'll continue to do what's best of him. For him up front. You don't have any idea what's best for him.